The mindful presenter, tip number 6. Tell stories and give analogies which your audience can relate to. Now, let's understand what a story is. Well, story is just an experience that you've gone through in your life. It could also be an experience of somebody you know, a book that you might have read, and the author in the book shared an experience of his or her life. Stories are very powerful. When we tell stories to people, they can actually relive that moment in their imagination. And if you can trigger imagination in your presentation through stories, your audience will love your presentations. Think of all the stories you can share in your presentations. Make them see that story. Make them feel that story. Make them hear the sounds that you heard or the story writer heard. It's a very simple 3-step process of creating a story. When you're writing a story, make your audience hear what you heard, make your audience feel what you felt, and make your audience see what you saw. If you can create these 3 factors in your story, your audiences will love your story. And a presentation which has stories in it is easy to remember and it sticks with your audience. Second thing is analogy. Use a lot of analogies in your presentation. What is an analogy? It is something similar to what you're saying. It's like a metaphor. It is like the chocolate example that I gave in my earlier video. And the golden nugget itself was an analogy. An analogy in technical field is called a cloud. Why do you think a remote server was called a cloud? We called it your data is being saved on the cloud. Because common people who are not aware of the technical terms and jargons, they don't understand what a remote server is, but they do see the cloud. And it's like, I can't touch the cloud, it's not near, it's somewhere in the sky, but it's a cloud. So when you tell somebody that all your data is stored in a cloud, or you talk about cloud computing, that, my dear friends, is an analogy. Another analogy that I gave was a golden nugget, which means something that adds value to people's lives. So think about simple terms which can replace the difficult jargons that we have in our technical presentations. 2 things that will add value to your presentations are stories and analogies. Please put a lot of stories and analogies in your presentation.